Hey folks, in this interview, I'm talking with someone who's behind the coming wave of motion art. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Photo. This is a TWiP interview. Today, I'm talking with my good friend, Mr. Troy Plota. Troy Plota is a co-founder behind the Plotagraph suite of apps. This is a suite of apps that allows you to do all kinds of crazy stuff that we're going to talk about, including add life to still images, morphs, overlays, all kinds of other cool things. We're going to talk about all that in this episode. Troy Plota, welcome to This Week in Photo, man. How you doing?
Great. Thanks, Frederick. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you on again, man. You've been on a couple times, but now, before we start the interview, I noticed some palm trees above you back there. You're on a little tropical island, basically sitting on top of some volcanic masses. Yeah. You're in Hawaii, right? What's going on there?
Yeah, we're in Maui. And actually, the funny thing is, so what we're doing right now is we have a big social push on our platform right now. And we're actually flying in ambassadors and members and just people who are on our platform. Mm-hmm. We're flying them in to live with us right now.
You're doing that. What did they call that back in the '60s? The love-in thing. It's kind of
love-in. It's a Plota love.
It's a Plota love-in. That's cool,
Casa
man.
Plota.
I have visions of artists running along the beach in slow motion. Is that what's going on over there?
Pretty much, actually. Pretty much. We're having a blast. We have another guy coming. What's today? Friday. Tomorrow from Toronto. I talked to him one time on the phone. He's like, dude, I'll give anything. Come on, let me come over. Because he sees the videos that we're doing because we have Plota TV now on the platform.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah,
we're doing like this social engagement where it's real, where they're coming in and they're hanging out and they're going to be working with us. And we have another ambassador who he works in Chicago and his job's letting him work remotely. So he's here. He's been here for a few days, and we're just doing stories and talking about motion art, and it's amazing. We're having a blast. Actually.
I would be there as well. I'm heading out to Ohio to do a talk for Panasonic in a couple of days, and then you know how it goes. And then I'm also having a birthday this month, so
nice.
I'm finally turning 21, man. I'm excited.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into this. So for the folks that don't know about your software, about the Plotagraph or the Plotaverse suite of apps, explain it. What is it that you're building, and what is the problem that you're solving for photographers?
Oh gosh. Okay. So the problem is that stills just aren't getting the engagement that they used to. Of course, video is king. Video is just taking over. And this has been happening for years now. A lot of our budgets as photographers are moving over to the video space. So I've been animating for quite a long time within this motion art movement. And I just knew that this is going to be something that would be a great tool for photographers to be able to compete in the video realm. Mm-hmm. And even if somebody's kind of wavering on what they want to do for a specific campaign or whatever, this gives another amazing tool for photographers to be able to monetize and to put another tool in their tool belt.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I love talking to you, because we not to say that one method of distributing or displaying our photographs is superior to another. It depends on what the intended use is and who the audience is, right? But what you seem to have done and what you're planting a flag in is the idea that, yeah, prints are amazing and they're beautiful. Nothing can really touch a print in terms of longevity and just the romanticism of the image on paper, right? We agree on that.
No, I don't agree with that actually at all.
Oh, let's talk about that. Well, let's talk about but let me finish the thought. That's good.
Okay, go for it.
Let's argue about that. So the other side of it is there's also this other huge universe of computers and screens, everything down from our cell phones up to Times Square, giant screens in Times Square and everything in between, which are avenues for us to show things other than a static image. In some cases, we can even have audio, that represents the vision, right? So you're playing to that crowd. Tell me why you think you don't agree with what I say about print. I want to hear that.
Well, gosh, where do I even begin? So I've been shooting for over 30 years now, and 28 years professionally. And I have so many prints that are fading, or even as much as I even printed stuff, that was fixed perfectly and properly. So over time, prints fade. I hate to say it. I mean, it is true. And digital screens are easily, they last much longer now and they're easily replaced. So when you have a piece that's presented with a digital screen, it just glows. How can you compete with those millions and millions of pixels that are glowing? So, and there are a lot of ways of, and I have a lot of people who are going to argue with me on this because printing has become much better. But once again, gosh, I hate to say it, if you talk longevity, that thing's, depends on if you put it in the sun or whatever it's going to be, it's going to fade over time. Yeah. So not that I'm knocking prints, but it's, the younger generations now, Generation Z and a lot of these younger artists who are growing up, they only know viewing content on digital screens. Mm-hmm. So it's no problem for them. Yeah. And so that's what we're working on, is creating all this content for digital screens, digital displays. And when it's digital, it doesn't have to be stationary. Now, it doesn't mean like the whole thing has to be moving and stuff, but if you can add like an element that just kind of catches your eye, it's really beautiful framed on the wall. Yeah. But now let's go to where people are generally using it, is on social media, which they're showing on like literally, let's hold a couple fingers up as far as like how big that screen is. Yep. And if you can add some motion to it in some particular way, it's just going to get you more attention. We're the top 5 recommended apps by Facebook for their ad platform for photo. So it's just the numbers don't lie. I mean, it's just, especially the younger generations, they want something that's going to catch their eye. They're flipping through thousands of images a day. How are you going to catch somebody's eye? Yeah. So we have this tool now that it doesn't have to be stationary.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because the devil's advocate side of the conversation would be that, okay, that's great. Digital is obviously, as much as we may love and hate digital, it's awesome for displaying images and content and that sort of thing. However, what if some hostile nation sends an EMP over here and knocks out our grid, or there's no electricity left? I know it's a stretch, but maybe not so much.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm just saying, or if you're in a log cabin, you have no power, the prints on the wall, you'll still be able to see, but everything else is gone. Talk to that. And I'm saying this tongue in cheek, obviously, because I believe in what you're doing. I believe in everything. I agree with what you're saying. But tell me what you say to those naysayers that say, well, Troy is saying that, digital's better because of A, B, and C, but when push comes to shove and I lose power, where's my digital? What do you say to that?
Power backup.
Solar panels
built into the back of the monitor. But so check this out. EMP style, this is a whole other conversation, but that is kind of what I get. Like, what if an EMP comes in? Well, first of all, I think something like 85% of our population will not last within a year. So I think there's going to be other issues other than looking at the art on the wall. As far as
food, gas, water. Yeah.
Damn it, my Plotagraph doesn't work. What the hell is going on? They're like, where's my food?
It's like, damn you, Troy Plota.
Oh man. So I don't know. There's just like, there's so many ways of taking it, but digital screen wise, like as far as like, whether it's digital or analog or whatever it is, I don't know, just preference, and the younger generation, most of our customers are younger. We're like skewing 18 to 25 and then 25 to 34 is like probably like 85% of our customers. And the older photographers are, I'm really trying, and they're the harder ones to get to. Yeah. And they're like, I wonder why my business. I'm having a hard time with my business. I'm like beating my head against the wall. Like, how many times do I have to say it? I mean, honestly, the numbers don't lie. We have so many statistics now that show that an animated image gets a lot more engagement. So in clients, they're looking for something different. It's our job to educate them as far as what's going on. So, and it's my job to educate the photographers, hey, and a lot of the photographers who we have on who use the platform and really love it, they hide it. Like they'll do posts and people are like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. How'd you do this? And they're like, it's magic. And I'm like, yeah, come on. So they don't want you to know. They don't want your viewers to know about it. They're like, no, let them stay over there. It's like I remember in the mid 90s when I was working in Photoshop, I had an assistant tell me that I was cheating. He's like, Photoshop, that's a joke, man. He was like, that's not real if you're adjusting the image. So there were those guys back in the day, right? That even if you shoot a sunset, if you enhance it, that's not real. So, it's just, the early adopters right now who want to kind of roll in and get ahead of the game. That's what a lot of our platform is right now.
Yeah.
And now we have got stories too. And we've got, we're on a daily basis just recording ourselves both, who's running a tech company and what's going on, and even talking. We have a creative director showing up at 2:00 today that we're going to interview. And check this out. So I'm on the beach. I'm in Alua Beach here in Maui, and I do a story. And I got a DM from this guy. He's like, "Are you at Alua Beach?" He was behind me in the condo.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, "I recognize that palm tree." So sure enough, he's one of our customers. He was living in Chicago for 11 years, running the marketing for the hockey team that they have there in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And so his team used the product. So he's coming over today, and we're going to ask him, once again, interview him as far as like, tell us about the details about how this helped, promote you guys. And he's a big fan and stuff like that. So we need to teach both the clients and the photographers as far as the benefits for this.
Yeah. Well, tell me, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the difference between what you're doing with the Plotaverse suite of apps and what we've seen online, with animated GIFs or GIFs or whatever, or other looping content. What makes Plotagraph and the Plotagraph suite of apps, or the Plotaverse suite of apps, different than what we see out there right now?
A lot of times when you see a GIF, a lot of times it's a looping video. So we have this whole world that exists called motion art, and it's video loops, it's plotagraphs, it's cinemagraphs, it's AR now. There's a lot of different categories that are involved with motion art. So our suite of apps actually animates it really easily. It makes it easy for you to dive in. I promise you guys, within a couple minutes, your image is moving. So if you're going to go out there and spend all that time getting that great image, not every single image lends itself to being animated, but a lot of them do. And so now we've added overlays also. I think we're up to almost 700 overlays. So
what are these overlays? What do these give you?
Well, like for example, if you have, like, say you're a wedding photographer and you're in a beautiful scene in Aspen, you can add the snow. It's, overlays of snow and rain or elements or birds flying, all this kind of cool stuff that catches your eye and kind of helps for your image to stand out. And the brides really love it. It's funny, a lot of times, because now on Facebook and stuff, you can use your cover photo as a looping MP4. Mm-hmm. So once again, there's just a lot of ways people are looking to stand out. The algorithms now on Facebook and Instagram really are tough, Yeah. So anything that you do to stand out, to get more views, pop your images to the top, and
Which I want to talk about the TV stuff that you're working on right now, and the launch of that and how that's going. But I want to rewind a little bit and understand or help the audience. I understand, obviously, but I want to help the audience understand what is going on when they create one of these. We sort of glossed over that. So if I have a still image that I grabbed from, that I shot in Yosemite 10 years ago of a waterfall, I can animate that. Just describe, is it realistic animation? What's happening in the background? Because it sounds like you said, it sounds like magic. But explain it from the founder standpoint.
Okay, great. So say you take that shot in Yosemite, the waterfall. You want to, what I would do, little tip here, I would mask the whole thing and then erase the waterfall. And we have it to where you just put some animation tracks down the waterfall, literally within seconds, press play, and that waterfall is moving.
That's crazy. That's superpowers. And that's exactly it. Just what you described is exactly how the app works. And that's why I fell in love with it when I first saw it, because it was like, you have that epiphany moment of like, okay, it just did that. That's cool. Now what else could I do? And I'll tell you what I did. My brain goes through, okay, let me go find some other images that I shot that I can animate. But then you switch gears to, how can I use this as a storytelling tool? Like what can I shoot original that's shot specifically to go into this Plotagraph app and add animation to? Is that what you're seeing from your creators? That sort of shift from sort of harvesting old shots to creating purpose-built shots for animation?
Yeah, especially because we have clients that call us and they say, who knows how to shoot for this? We have a few things that we want to do. And, do you have photographers? So we have ambassadors. We have people who are on our platform that I know it really well. They actually shoot purposely for it. And so I recommend them for jobs. And so what I'm really passionate about too on our platform is helping photographers monetize their business. I'm a professional photographer. I've never had another job other than now having a tech company.
Yeah.
But since I was 21 years old, basically I've had photography studios, and I was freelance for all that time. And just photography's changed so much, so what we're looking for are photographers who know how to shoot for it. And I'm doing a lot of training too, and teaching, like, for example, like, like when we're shooting campaigns for stills, they'll be like, okay, we need negative space over here for copy. Right. So but with a Plotagraph, you actually get a better effect by having some texture there and animating it. And then when they put their logo or copy on top of it, it flies off. Because the way that we're set up is, and this is why video is so important too, is you learn more by a video, by moving images, than you do still. Yeah. And so it just makes it more dynamic, gives you more attention, and you retain the knowledge a lot better. So in that way, instead of leaving that negative space, you would actually design the shot to include some texture in there that can be animated, knowing that when that client puts the logo on top, their copy, whatever, they're going to at least 3x what they normally would get off of a still.
Love that.
So
love that.
Yeah.
So Plota TV, right? So that's the well, tell me what it is. What is Plota TV? Is it a showcase of creators, or is it a tutorial lynda.com type thing specifically for motion artists? What is it?
All of the above. So what we've done is we have adaptive streaming now up to 1 hour. So what we're doing initially right now is I have a show that we have rolling, and we're bringing in people from all over the world. I've got a friend coming in from Germany, from Chile. We've got Toronto arriving tomorrow, and we have Steven from Chicago. Yeah. So it's exciting. So basically, we're telling our story, both as a tech company and what we're doing, and I give tips and tricks along the way. And we're actually creating other shows with our other ambassadors. And these are artists who just have their own, personality and perceptions on things in all different ages.
That's cool.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's blowing up. We literally are every day now we're doubling the people on the platform since we've released just even a couple days ago our videos.
That's great. Well, tell me about that. So the video, you see, and I gotta whenever I interview you, I gotta listen, because there's these little nuggets that you drop in there, and I have to probe down, and there's like a vein of gold. So the video implementation, you guys just rolled that out not too long ago, right? So dive a little bit deeper into that, and
okay.
And the second part of that question is, or part of your answer, if you can answer, is the video implementation restricted to displaying within the Plotaverse app, or can I embed it in my own website? I.e., are you going head to head with YouTube and Facebook and those guys? Explain that piece of it.
It's basically like a combination of Instagram and YouTube. And what's different is we're creating stories. We're setting up on our stories platform on Plota TV that your stories don't disappear. Mm-hmm. So basically anybody could come in, a day in the life of whoever, right? And they come in and they wake up in the morning, tell a story, give their opinion on stuff. They have basically their own show, and every day it resets as far as like day 1, day 2, or put the date, whatever it may be. And so you can watch somebody's life by episodes of day, week, month, or year.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing right now. Right now it's invite only. So we're looking for influencers. We're looking for people who have really cool stories and something to say. We don't have ads. You're not beat down by ads. There's no algorithm. Yeah. The best content thrives. It's not about who's paying.
So digital Darwinism. Look at that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and obviously it's wanted and needed big time. So that's another addition.
That's killer. Okay, so who's on the Plotagraph TV thing? So on the side of content, right? So we've got, you said you have people flying in to help kickstart this thing. There's influencers, there's tutorials, and all that. Where do you hope it goes? Like, where is Plota TV? That's the name of it, right? Plota TV?
Yes.
Where is it going? Do you hope it to be like this giant, massive archive of footage that people that are interested in motion art can go to get inspired, or you explain it? What is it?
Okay, great question. So motion art is our core as of right now. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing that kind of got, we literally shot up to #1 in the App Store when we released last year. And so that's kind of like what put us on the map. now that we're here, we are opening our platform to stills. We are going to open our platform to videos, and we already have motion art. Motion art was the hardest part. And that's why nobody's really done it yet, is because for coding it, it was like, it took a while, right? So now that we have it and we have our core as motion artists, we're going to start opening up to the world, to everybody. And right now, Generation Z, this younger generation, is just all over it because they're jumping from Snapchat to Instagram.
Yeah.
And they're noticing they get on Instagram, they're hit by tons of ads. The algorithm makes it impossible for them to get followers. So we want to get them before, during, or after that jump and say, listen, hey guys, no algorithms. If you're going to spend your time, you know, Instagram right now is a bait and switch. You know, it's like so many of us spent so much time building communities, and all of a sudden, by the way, bing, there goes your community. You can't reach them anymore unless you pay.
Right.
And so we're not doing that ever. We're basically saying, if somebody comes in, we have a subscription of $4.99 a month. It's free. You get on the app for free if you want, just to watch content and do whatever you want, and even post in a certain way, you know. But if you want to literally record your life and do your own story and do your own episodes of a day in the life of yourself, this is the place to do it, because once again, your viewers aren't going to be hit by ads. We have a no troll policy. So yesterday I did this. I'm not sure if you saw it on the app, but I did a mass notification to like 2 million people.
Wow.
And I said, special message from Troy. We've been hearing from a few of our, you know, members here that there's been a few trolls, a few people bothering them.
Yeah.
And I said this, I have no problem with deleting anybody and blocking their IP address. So I did that yesterday. So I put a mass notification out. So I didn't know how that was going to go. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not sure what was going to happen here. I woke up this morning, it was 3:54 a.m. And I'm like, I look on, I'm like, check stuff. I go to Twitter, and somebody screenshotted my comment, my mass notification on Twitter. And I glanced, I'm like, can't see yet. And I'm like, oh no, Twitter. You know, Twitter's like the worst, you know, like whenever I see something on Twitter, I'm like, oh gosh, we have to address this right away. But basically he was like giving a shout out. He's like, I wish every social platform was like this, that they protected their members from people who just, you know, because most people are good. You have 95% of people are just like, want to talk with their friends, and you have those 5% who ruin it for everybody. So we're so small, you know, we don't have a billion people, nor do we do not want a billion people on this platform. We want people who want a really safe, nice environment, a sanctuary for artists to post, create, and to get clients. You know, so that the monetization is really important to us too. So we have this kind of like artist utopia, and I'm kind of leading the way and saying, listen, I'm putting my foot down. If anybody comes on and messes around, you just let us know, one strike and they're out, because we're very vocal about this is a really nice community. We want to keep it that way.
Yeah. Bravo, man. Bravo. I applaud that. I have a similar sort of mindset when it comes to This Week in Photo and the different communities, you know, YouTube and the blog and our community and all that. And my mindset is that, and it sounds like it echoes yours, is that social media, or not social media, but these places that I built and, you know, have invested much of my life into are kind of like my house. So if I invite you into my house and, you know, you defecate on my dining room table, then chances are I'm going to kick you out and ban you from coming back. You don't have a right to come in my house to do that. There's no free speech in my house, right? So,
you know what's interesting? Absolutely. So check this out. So here I am. This is my house. This is where we're working out of, and we've got I've got people coming from all over the world. We're just like, all right, so let's do this. I got a nice place here, lots of room. So what we're doing is we're inviting our members in.
Yeah.
And we're like, come on, come live with us.
Love that.
And we're going to have open discussion, sitting on the couch, videotaping the whole thing, whatever, any questions you want. Now, if somebody disagrees, it's totally fine. That's good, because you can learn from that, but in a civil manner. So what we're saying is, pretend like you're in our house, right? Pretend like you're sitting on our couch. Just exactly what you said. If you do some crazy stuff, we're going to kick your ass out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, just to you know, cap on that, or put a cap on it. It's kind of like the mindset I have when reading comments and all that. You know, I'm all for opinions, and I don't want to censor. If you like this brand over that brand, or you have an opinion over what we said on this show, you don't agree, I'm happy to hear that if you say it in a civil, normal manner. But, you know, if you can't do that, or if your comment doesn't add to the conversation in some way or provide a different perspective in a normal way rather than, you know, guy sitting in his parents' basement and just typing out vitriol, then gone. Right. I don't need to see that.
Plenty of other places to do that. Yeah. For some reason, other places put up with that. And Instagram really used to be like that. Instagram really was a great place to, it was good, you know, but unfortunately, I think as platforms build and they get so big, they have a hard time, you know, well, the money starts kicking in. It's hard to, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what? We could talk for hours on this, and we will, in fact. Because you and I are brainstorming a webinar, because, you know, we could have done a demo in this interview. We've done it before. So if you search for Troy Plota or Troy Christopher Plota or Plotagraph or Plotaverse on This Week in Photo, you'll see all the content that we've created. But what I wanted to do is do a webinar format with you. And this is what you and I have been talking about. And what the webinar format affords is it will allow us to do kind of an interview, like a short little snippet of an interview like this, and then have you dive in while there's live questions coming in, and people can ask, well, what about this? Or what's an overlay? Or do you have overlays for rain or whatever? And you can, you know, have that sort of live interaction as well. And then we can direct them to, you know, whatever offer or whatever we want to do at the end, if anything. Right. So that
absolutely. Any way that I can help. I even sit there on our platform and I'll even do customer service questions, like, because I want to know, you know, like, what can we do to make this the best platform that we can?
Yeah.
And how can I help you monetize? Or let's say, just as an artist, how can I help you expand? How can I give you the tools that help you go the next level? And initially, when people first get in, they want to start off kind of slow. But as you get going, it's just fun. It's just another way of expressing yourself. It's really cool.
I love it, man. Well, congratulations on this. I mean, you know, you and I connected early on when you guys were
from the start. You got it like literally like right off the bat. You were like one of the first ones.
Hey, I'm a fan of motion art. I think it is an amazing tool for telling stories, right? And when used properly, because, you know, we'll talk a little bit about the improper use of motion, right? So right. You know, in my opinion, all this is subjective because it's art, right? But in my opinion, the proper use is when you add motion in service of the the overall story, you know, or even if the story is contained in one image, like, hey, there's a, you know, woman running through water and the water's moving to show that it was kind of hard to run through the water, you know, something like that, versus just animating something just to say that, hey, I have the superpower to animate, you know. Do you agree with that? I mean, because I know you've seen thousands and thousands of animations. Which ones do you think, from your perspective, are most successful versus the ones that are just kind of like, you know, dogs playing pool, you know?
Yeah, we have over 500,000 uploads right now of motion art on the platform so far. And I curate the feed, the whole entire feed that you see. I've seen every image that's ever been loaded. And what's interesting, but some things will pop up and like, oh my gosh, I would never have thought. That's amazing. That's so cool. And it's like some guy in Indonesia, right? It's just, we have like pros who are really good at it, and some hit the mark. You know, you're like, oh, that was really cool. And actually, there was one this morning that came up, and I commented on this girl's image, and it's so badass. And, you know, it's surreal. Like, so a lot of times either you take it in a real way, like you're seeing running through water. Yeah. I tend to like surreal things. I like, you know, Photoshop, and I like to kind of build and layer and this sort of thing. So I like to create other worlds, like something that I probably maybe have never seen before. Yeah. That's kind of the things that attract me. But so if you're showing on mobile, you got to get some movement in there, you know, because it needs to go kind of fast. But if you're going to present really big, like for display at an airport, billboard in Times Square, whatever it might be, subtle is great. You don't want it to be too hard. So you have to remember like where it's going to be seen.
Interesting. Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, the one tip, and probably we'll get more tips in the webinar, but one tip is the larger the final piece is going to be, i.e. Times Square, the more subtle the animation needs to be, the smaller, the more obvious it needs to be. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, and it's those kind of things that people, especially coming from a still photography background or even a videography background, you don't really grok that. It's like, I'm creating something and print it. You know, you may pay, you're a commercial photographer. You may pay attention to the resolution of what the final piece needs to be, but sort of beyond that, you're not really concerned with, okay, it's going to be viewed big, so I need to do this kind of thing. So yeah. I want to talk about that stuff in that webinar that we're
in the webinar. This is a great point. Let's do it. So a lot of times, so I'm on a 27-inch iMac right now, right? And so we've got animators to go in, they'll animate, right? But really they're animating to show onto the social platform on mobile. So what I say is reduce that before you export, right? Reduce it down, view it at that size.
Yeah.
And I tell people to do it, they go, oh man, it's so different. Brilliant. So if you're going to export and you're like, hey, I'm going to put this on Instagram. Well, Instagram is really a mobile only platform. So speed it up, but if if you're going to post it on Plotaverse or somewhere else where you are going to be able to view it bigger on a desktop or tablet or whatever too, is you can go with more of a medium speed. So it just depends on where you're going to show it.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. So one thing that I hear that photographers sometimes are afraid of video files. Right, they're afraid of they're familiar with TIFFs and PSDs and MP4, not MP4s, but JPEGs and stuff. So when they hear video format, they're like, oh my gosh. But what we did on our platform is on our export, it's just you export it just like as a JPEG. It just happens to be an MP4 or a GIF or a PNG, whatever you want. We just really made it simple. Because I know it's the video world's totally different. We do have a video export, but we made it really easy.
Yeah, it's totally different. And what you're saying kind of reminds me of the getting my brain around the YouTube thumbnail world of creation, right? Because it's creating to get attention on a little tiny YouTube thumbnail that may be shown at this size, or this size is completely different than just creating something that that's a final piece. It's got to be obvious at the smaller sizes. So which is why what you said echoed and resonated. Well, cool, man.
One other thing. Okay, so check it out. So the other thing that we've heard is we've done billboards for Vegas and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Is what's cool about Plotagraphs and where we get to control it is videos are distracting for drivers. So they have these big digital billboards, and so the content. So to put a still image on it is kind of a waste. But to put a video, it's there's regulations where it can't be so fast where people are going to crash because they're looking at the video, right?
Yeah.
But because on motion art though, it never ends, and you get at a glance on a subtle screen, it'll catch your eye. Right, and that logo will pop off, but it's not distracting where it's dangerous for drivers.
Interesting. All right, we're going to cover all that in the webinar that we do. Okay, if people want to dive in, they want to see this Plota TV stuff, they want to test out the app, they want to try it out on the iPad, the iPhone. It's on Android too, right? Or is it on Android?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on Android. You're all over the place. So if people want to dive in, where should they go to A, get the software, B, get inspired about what they should and shouldn't be creating?
So on the App Store or Play Store, just search Plotaverse. Basically, it's a Plotaverse app that contains all the apps within it. And then on desktop, the download is at plotaverseapps.com. That's our website there. And that's our pro version for Mac and PC.
Love it. Cool, man. Thank you for doing this, Troy. It's always good to check in with you because every time we talk, there's new features in the app. There's new things that are coming. This time, Plota TV rolled out. Last time, it was all kinds of other cool features. You guys are constantly firing all cylinders, building that thing while soaking up the sun in Maui, which is just, for some reason, not fair. I don't understand.
And shooting. I mean, the locations here are so killer.
I know. It's crazy. I want to take my drone out there and get some lava flow shots. That's my, I may not come back with a drone, but I want to do it. Cool, man. All right. Well, thank you. Good luck with the Love-In Summit. Good luck with Plota TV and the Plotaverse suite of apps and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you next week. So folks that are watching this, depending on when you're watching this, we may or may not have already done the webinar. But in the post notes for this episode on the blog and in the YouTube video, I'll put a link to either the live event where you can go sign up for it or the replay so you can go watch it again. All right. Troy Plota, thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later. This is TWiP.